If you guys have not seen this, Leonidas Arcona just hit a super impressive lift on the Devon Larratt pronation lift. He ended up hitting 170 pounds on this thing. Now, I think that Devon hit around 165 in his build-up for Levon, so considering that Leonidas is still relatively new to the sport, I think this is super solid. Now, looking at the actual technique on the lift, the first thing I did notice is that Leonidas' pronator does begin to fail just a little bit. You can see him slightly turning palm up as he starts to budge this weight off the floor. Not really a problem, probably not totally ideal, but it is just a little bit of failure right there. So this tells us that likely the failure point of this lift for Leonidas is the pronation. Another thing that we notice is that when he actually lifts the weights, he is actively curling this weight. We see active elbow flexion as opposed to just locking the arm and leaning back like Devon normally does, which indicates that probably Leonidas could lift even more with his elbow flexor, which is pretty insane. But both of these things combined do tell us that likely the failure point of the lift for him, the reason he's not going heavier, is because of his pronator rather than his elbow flexor failing. Now, another thing that is interesting to look at is this open arm angle, and I know that some people don't like how open this is, but I do think that this is still a usable angle. This is just a very open top roll. I think that he could use this angle in a match, and I don't think that his humerus would be below the tabletop, so to me this is still totally fine as long as you are planning on going to this position in the match. If you want to start a match with your arm more at like a 90-degree angle, then maybe this isn't the best lift for you. But if you're planning on going to an open top roll or a king's move anyway, this is going to have a lot of translation to that move. What I care about seeing a lot more is the actual angle of the forearm in relation to the ground. And you can see that it's just about at parallel. And if anything, I would say this is probably a little bit closer to parallel than some of the Devon Larratt lifts we were seeing right up near the build-up to his Levon match. So overall, I find this lift to be super impressive. 170 pounds. As far as I know, this is the heaviest lift we've ever seen by anyone except for Levon. I think Levon did a little bit more than this. And considering that Leonidas hasn't even been training this lift for that long, who knows what we might see in the future. Maybe 200 pounds is possible.